Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 44 of Material Issues. I'm Mark Hershberger. Joining me, as always, from the other coast, the president of the International Pop Overthrow Festival and my very good friend for the last 40-odd years. They've been odd.
Not
Mr.
quite.
Mr. David Bash. How are you, David?
Hey, Mark. Great to see you again. Yeah, I mean, they've certainly been odd, but there haven't been 40 of them. Not quite.
No, it's not
More
been
like
40, and a lot of them have been odd, but wonderfully odd.
They're always odd, yeah.
You know, we've enjoyed each other's company, record shopping, IPOing, Liverpool, everywhere, LA,
tons and tons of laughs.
having tons and tons of laughs. Everything good with IPO?
Yeah,
I see your book more and more.
Everything's great. I've got there's a decent chance that we'll be back in the San Francisco venue that we were in for the past 7 years, Hotel
Right.
Utah, just crossing the I's and dotting the T's, or vice versa. And hopefully we work that out. Everything else is great. I just announced today that we will be doing an IPO compilation this year, volume 23, and it will be our 23rd year in accord. We're doing it again with Omnivore Records, who are just the best people, and an amazing label, both reissue and current. And so I'm very, very excited about that. Let's see what else happened. Oh, stupidly, I left my wallet in my pants when I put them in the washing machine. So I had to get a new wallet. Thank God the credit card magnet strips. Hey, George. Thank God the magnet strips didn't become ineffectual, but I did have to get a new Vax card because that got
There you go.
pretty much destroyed by all the water. But yeah, it's all good. Amazon has wallets. You have them within a day.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I wanted to, we've had Frank Sessich on of Blue Ash and Stiv Bators, the Deadbeat Poets. I just wanted to do a little plug for his book, Circumstantial Evidence. It's now like in the 4th printing or whatever. So if people haven't picked up Circumstantial Evidence, which is Frank's wonderful book on his time with Blue Ash and Stiv Bators and the Dead Boys, Post Bators, and of course Deadbeat Poets, and of course, where's Mr. Chapter on Mark Hershberger? Thank you very much.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, read all about Mark Hershberger in this book. But pick it up; it's a great book. I know Frank is thrilled that it keeps selling out of the prints, and it's back into another printing, which is cool.
But, and today is National Puppy Day.
National Puppy Day.
You've got a couple there.
As David knows, I have a brand new foster doggie named Biscuit. She's kind of part pit bull, part hound, part just completely part good girl. And I've been enjoying her.
Can we get a shot of her?
No, she went. I don't know where she went. She's off protecting the house or looking for Ches, my other dog. But wonderful dog.
Tell everyone how you came to acquire.
Well, she was in a kill shelter in Tennessee, and just like 2 days from being put down. And somebody posted on Facebook, and a friend of mine reposted and showed a little video of her shaking violently in this shelter in Tennessee. And because she looked like my other dog, I couldn't handle it. So I made some phone calls, got her pulled out of the kill shelter, and held by somebody until I could arrange transport via One Love Rescue up here all the way up to New Jersey, which happened on Saturday. And she got off the transport van, shaking, tail between her legs, scared to death on Saturday. And here we are 4 days later, and she is as happy as can be, and the best dog, just a fantastic, loving, gentle dog. It just fills my heart. So she's
all kidding aside, that was a really magnanimous thing you did.
I just love. Thank you, man. I love dogs, and I can't stand to see them suffering. If I had a farmette, I'd probably have a dozen dogs running around, but
not too late.
Those are dreams. I hang on to dreams all the time, but it's good. What do we got going on tonight, my friend?
Well, speaking of dreams, we have 3 dreamy ladies for everybody this evening. I know you do that at the restaurant.
Yes,
So,
indeed. I sing and play.
Anyway, I've had the pleasure of knowing these ladies for a few years now. They front a band, a really cool pop rock band out of New York City, and definitely a band on the rise. And as I as I describe, so deftly described, I'll use D's here. So deftly described in my Facebook post, they're the paragons of pulchritude. And
Let me look that one up really quick.
Yeah, please. Where did I first hear? You know where I first heard the word pulchritude? Actually, yeah. Well, I think it was from Howard Cosell, who of course always showed up. Yeah. I think he was talking about Aaron Gray.
Yeah.
On what was the celebrity sports show on ABC?
Yeah, whatever they called that. Yeah, where they had all the different celebrities doing.
Howard had this thing for Aaron Gray, and he'd always say, "And here she is, the nice one, Aaron Gray, just a prime example of pulchritude." And it's like, what the hell is that? So I had to look it up, of course. And even Bugs Bunny said it in one of his episodes when he saw Daisy or whatever the female rabbit was. It was
right.
What a hunk of feminine pulchritude, and you saw his heart like bouncing out of his chest. It was great stuff. Anyway, I digress.
I love it.
This band has some really cool songs, and I want an album, ladies. I really do. Yep. But we're going to bring them on so they can talk about the band, their careers, their lives, their loves, etc., etc. Would you please give a huge welcome to Tiffany, Margaret, and KG of Sly Boots?
And there they are.
Have any of you seen the show Hello, Ladies?
No.
Yes.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to give this whole build-up, but since you've seen it, this is what always happens to me. Ladies just derail me all the time. I have these things prepared, and then it's like, well, I'm kind of the Stephen Merchant of pop, although I'm not 6'7", I'm not British.
But outside of that, you're identical to Stephen Merchant.
The resemblance is remarkable.
Yeah, I know, right? I am old. So I do sometimes say, I do sometimes put my foot in my mouth with women, and I say things that are benevolently.
I see.
Benevolently inappropriate.
You go.
Oh my God, I'm so flustered. No, seriously, how the heck know me now? How is everyone?
Great.
Everybody.
Good.
Really
Thank
good.
you very much.
Nice to see you. David has met you in person, but this is the first time I'm meeting Tiffany, Margaret, and KG. It's an absolute pleasure. I've been listening to the tracks on Bandcamp, and as David said, we're waiting on more, and we're waiting on an album.
We want an album, yeah.
That's up to KG. Get busy. It's been plenty of time, downtime.
None of this download only crap. We want physical.
Well, like you said, when we get enough material together, then we'll get physical with it. But for now, we're going to do one track at a time because we're working, and we gotta do it when we can, how we can. So
sure.
We got some more songs coming out soon too. So there's more.
I know the pandemic was really rough on all of you.
Indeed. But what we got, we like. I was sitting, I guess yesterday I was listening to the 3 tracks that are on Bandcamp, and I kind of described it in my head as ethereal. It's very petite with a lovely beauty to it. Many people describe goth music as ethereal, but it's nowhere near that. It's more of a nice landscape and a nice painting. So kudos, KG. Great bass work, Margaret, and the vocals, Tiffany. Thank you so much. I'm digging it. So, because when David said I got this band coming on Sly Boots, I said I knew the name, but I didn't know the band that well. So it was time to start listening. And real quickly, KG, you're the songwriter behind the 3 songs. that I heard on Bandcamp, correct?
Yeah, but the whole band crafts the songs together, and
Okay. All
we
right.
have favorite.
Lyrically, what's the best word for it? Not. I mean, what am I trying to say here? Lyrically, a bit gray. I- I- Is that a good word for it?
Purple?
If that's what it is to you.
Well, I mean, it's not shiny happy
A bit
people,
purple.
yeah, type thing.
Yeah.
It's very. It comes from. It almost to me. It sounds like it comes from a place of hurt and some sadness in some ways. Am I right?
It could be. Yeah, I think of them as introspective.
Okay, that's the word I was looking for. Introspective. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good night, everybody. I'm done.
No.
Okay, so David, you're now.
No.
How can I follow that?
Yeah, that's kind of because on Bandcamp it's cool. I could read the lyrics as I was listening to everything, which I'm a big lyric guy. Huge fan of bands like Klaatu, where the lyrics take me to another place in time. And not to get too deep, but I like to read between the lines sometimes and say, where's this person coming from with this? And I hate when writers say to me, oh, I don't know, I just sat down. It means absolutely nothing to me. I just made this stuff up. It's hard to do that when you're 3 for 3 on those songs. I'm like, yeah, okay. KG's got some deep stuff going on. Let's talk to her about it tonight because this is material issues.
Okay.
It's kind of like when you ask actors about certain roles they played, and you're hoping that they're going to give you some deep treatise about them, and all they do is shrug their shoulders and say, "Oh, it's just a job." It's like, oh God, really? Come on, can't you do better than that?
Yeah, but music encompasses everything. So I think that for us, the 3 songs that we put out first are more introspective because it sort of suited us better. And certainly I think Tiffany's really channeling the moods really beautifully. And I think she was relating to those really strongly. So that's part of it. But certainly, we have some poppier stuff, and I've definitely written lighter things. So it's not, everybody's human and experiences a wide variety of moods. And so they can come out in different songs.
And speaking of Tiffany performing these songs and lyrics wonderfully, Tiffany, what how do you get into those lyrics? What where do you find the emotions to do what you do with them and sing from wherever place you're coming from and make it real
Yeah, I think I have such an amazing experience working with KG as the songwriter. And, when we get into rehearsal, a bit of time to really sit with the music and sit with the lyrics. And I go into rehearsal and I'm like, do you know what this reminds me of? Like I'm driving down a foggy path, like in New Hampshire, when I go and visit friends or family. And I'm like, it's kind of like a mental image. So then it's like, okay, how would I be singing if I trip? What am I thinking about? And the word KG used is so important of introspective because it takes you someplace else. And I think that's such a special thing about KG's writing is they all have a setting, and that setting is going to be different for everybody. And where I go with it is not going to be the same place that the people who I'm singing in front of it is going to go. But I try to be kind of as true to those feelings that I'm feeling so I can convey kind of the background, the grayness of the song. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's very important because KG can write from a personal place or an introspective place, but when she hands the lyrics over to someone like you and says, here's, you can make or break everything that she's thought in her head if you can't pull it off, and then it's all for naught.
But often she comes up with entirely different colors, and I suddenly start to hear other nuances and other possibilities that I hadn't considered before. And that's what I really, really like. And that's what I think is really special about Tiffany, that she really, she's not just one color. Like suddenly it mutates and it has all these different aspects. And I even hear the songs in a very different light once she interprets them. And that's a real gift.
That's
you
the
know, for
collaborative
every
process.
good band, with every good band, it's a gestalt experience. It's every good band is the better than or greater than the sum of their parts, and I definitely see that with you. How did you all meet? How did the band form?
Do I take that one?
Yeah.
Whoever wants it.
We all met through the amazing, we call him the Godfather, Sal Maida.
Sal.
I met Sal at an Irish festival in Rockaway Beach when I was singing Sinead O'Connor, Nothing Compares to You. And Sal came to me after the gig and was like, what do you want to do with music? And I'm like, I'm looking for a band. He's like, I think I got someone for you. So that was what, 2019, 2018? Yeah. And we met, and, I went a couple of times just to like feel it out. And we recognized, we all kind of work in the same field in different sectors, but in the same field. And we just clicked. And from there, KG trusted me with some lyrics, some music, and it's just been going from there. And now it's like a sisterhood. I talk to them multiple times a week, and yeah, it's amazing making music with these ladies.
And there's no pressure there because Sal Maida, right, Margaret, is not a bad bass player himself.
No, he's a great bass player. He's like my favorite bass player.
I was just going to say, I mean, Tiffany and KG, great, but like someone's got to really overperform to impress Sal Maida, and that would be the bass player.
Well, naturally, yeah.
Sal was our first guest on Material Issues 43 weeks ago.
Nice.
Yeah, he was. That's good. So back, I had a real quick question before we get back into how everybody else got into the band. But would you write, KG? Do you think of bass lines, or is Margaret bringing the bass ideas completely from her angle?
It depends. Sometimes there's been a bass line, but a lot of times I put in placeholders, basically just so that I can hear the concept, and then I give it to Margaret, and she fleshes it out in her own style, in her own way. And again, generally the songs evolve both in rehearsals and then once we get to the studio. So it is almost never the same as the original demo that I make of the concept. Yeah. And I'm okay with that because it goes in a direction that I could never have anticipated or have planned if I wanted to.
Yeah, I think it's tough to just completely own everything and want everything your own way. I don't think there's a lot of happiness in that, but you get into the collaborative process, and things will grow and become much better if you allow the other influences to say, you know what, this right here should be, more along this lines. What do you think? And then it just builds into something much more than what you originally planned, and that's a great thing.
So when KG brings the blueprint in, we keep on hashing it out, and sometimes like KG will change her guitar part, and if she's changing her guitar part, then the bass part changes, and then if the bass part changes, the vocal inflection changes, and then we tend to just throw as many ideas into the pot as possible. Right. So I'll come up with like a bunch of different bass parts. Like maybe KG gave me a blueprint, maybe it was a blank slate, it doesn't matter. And then all these different ideas, like, oh, let's try this idea, let's try that idea. And then she'll be like, I'm going to try this idea. And Tiff will say, I'm going to emphasize this syllable. And we just try so many things. I would say it's laborious, but enjoyable. Like we're not like creating brown sugar in 10 minutes like Keith Richards says he does. Like it's like years sometimes.
But it has to be enjoyable, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we love the process.
Yeah.
Because it is fascinating how everything has to change. Sometimes you change one element and suddenly everybody hears it differently. And now, maybe the whole feel of the song is different. So now everybody's hearing it a little bit differently, and then everything shifts again. So it's not straightforward. Like everything is connected to everything else. And that's what we all believe. We all recognize that. So we're all really prepared to keep shifting things.
No, that's a great thing. That's what makes being in a group or a band or whatever you want to call it a wonderful experience, because you're all in it together and you're all feeling it together. That's awesome, and it comes through in the songs. Good songs. I'm digging it. Yeah.
So,
What?
KG, do you believe in free will? That's an inside joke, everyone.
Okay.
Well, I have read a lot of Sam Harris's writings and speakings about the subject, so we could have a discussion about that. I'm sure you're aware he says no, but
Yeah.
anyway,
Yep,
we can move
exactly. There is no free will. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I could expound upon that forever, but instead of wasting everybody's time,
thank you.
And we'll do this one at a time. Who are your greatest influences musically growing up?
on. Are we starting with
Tiffany?
Who wants to start?
Tiffany.
I mean, the ladies know what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. The Babs, Barbra Streisand. I think the change in me was when, growing up, musical theater, musicals, I grew up in the South, and, it was such a great treat when my mom would bring me up to New York to go see Broadway shows. And seeing Barbra Streisand in Funny Girl, I've got it on DVD, VHS, now digital downloads, and I watch it every couple of months just to get that re-up of Babs. But to see her career, her being such a monolith on the stage and in film, and then also transcend what it means to be a vocalist. I can listen to her sing Happy Birthday the days of the week, and it gives me some type of inspiration. And it's not just, kind of trying to mimic or do anything. It's just the freedom. It's the freedom that she expresses, and the way in which you can read a song, you can read the lyrics, but if you haven't heard her sing it, you haven't experienced it. And I just really love the authenticity. She's always been.
This is how old I am. I was 12 when Barbra Streisand released her version of Stony End.
Yeah, I wasn't quite born yet, but go ahead.
Yeah, right. Early 1971, and up until then, especially if you were a boy, I mean, Barbra Streisand was just not cool. It was your parents' music, and literally it was. My parents listened to Barbra Streisand all the time, but then Stony End comes on. It's like, wow, this lady's got balls. She can sing. She's cool. So I still have a real soft spot for her.
Love it.
Anyway, who's next?
I'll pass to Max.
Oh, there we go. It's like playing Uno.
So I grew up playing the trombone, and I played like the trombone from 5th grade all the way like through high school and in the jazz band and stuff. And for me, my ear has always naturally gone to the bass, into the rhythm of a song. So I don't even so when I hear songs, I think about like what is moving the song, what is driving the song. And usually like a lot of times, like those are the bands that speak to me. I don't necessarily like connect to the lyrics, or I don't necessarily connect to the voice. I hear the bass. Half the time I don't even hear the acoustic guitar. So it's like, that's where my ear naturally goes. And I think I pull from like a lot of influences. I think like growing up in the Adirondacks in Lake George, we had like great alternative music out of Manchester, Vermont. WEQX that played like the best new music. So I got like a lot of great like 90s, not like alternative in the terms of like post grunge alternative, but like Sonic Youth, like the alternative of the day, like, and then also because it is in the Adirondacks, I got exposed to like tons of classic rock. So I kind of like would be in a place where I would really, really love The Cure and then really, really love Rush. And so I think I was lucky to live in a space where all those like great things live together. You know, I could be into Edwyn Collins and then also be really into like Cheap Trick. And I think I'm lucky for that.
Very
And
much.
if you were sitting right across from one bass player that you could say, "Show me how you did that," who would that be?
Show me how you did that. Who would that be?
Yeah,
Uh,
you get one. You get one.
One. Well, Paul McCartney. There you go.
Thank you very much. All right.
One.
Next.
He's it. If one guy, Paul McCartney.
Very good. All right. Well, I'm a big fan of Margaret already. Very good. Very good. Tiffany, Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney.
So, how about you, KG? What floated your boat in your youth? Yeah.
So similar to Margaret, a wide variety of musical styles and bands influenced me, and I'd go through different phases. So I definitely, I guess, a mainstay for me has been Cheap Trick. I'm a massive Cheap Trick fan. So I was a card-carrying member of the fan club at one point, number 429. Thank you.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So I've definitely seen them a zillion times.
I was number 430.
No. And then, but I also really, I got into The Cure, and I still really, early Cure is more of my favorite. I liked a lot of the 80s stuff, but it was always the sound of guitar that drew me to music. Something about electric guitar in particular. So yeah, I would go see, Aerosmith and a lot of the regular, classic rock bands. Went through a heavy era where I listened to nothing but Free, which
right now.
like that vibrato, and that just like blows my mind. Yeah, a lot of sort of classic rock, but then also a lot of The Cure. But I think Robert Smith is a really cool, underrated guitar player, as well as Johnny Marr. I love all of his stylings as well.
And at what age did you start playing guitar? Was it
Not
young?
until my mid-20s.
Wow.
Because
A couple years ago.
I never took music in school. Yeah, I didn't have any music classes. And then I was a DJ in college. I bought a lot of records, so I was always collecting music. I was obsessed with music, and I wrote for fanzines, but I didn't play. And I just kept listening to guitar, and I really wanted to play guitar, but I figured I was too old and I was a girl and you couldn't do it. And just by accident, went to see Aerosmith at Madison Square Garden, and a friend of mine was with me, and he bribed the guards and got us backstage. And so I got to go backstage, and actually my favorite guitarist in Aerosmith was Brad Whitford. I thought he was the secret sauce. Like, I really admired like his stylings more than Joe Perry. So I got to talk to Brad Whitford, and he was super nice, super gracious. And he talked to me for like half an hour, and he encouraged me to go get a guitar and start playing. And he was just so lovely to this like nobody, that I went and bought a guitar two weeks later, like the same color ESP guitar that he was playing. So
wow, that's a cool story.
So was that the moment where you decided, yeah, I think I want to be in a band?
Well, I decided I wanted to play guitar, and then I just answered a crazy ad in the Village Voice and joined a band before I could, when I could barely play any bar chords. But hey, I got in a band.
Yeah.
You learn by doing.
Margaret, Tiffany, when did you decide that you wanted to be in a band or do music? Whichever one wants.
Go for
Margaret,
it, Tiff.
you go first.
Oh,
Tiffany,
okay, I'll go first.
You go first.
Yeah.
So I have an older brother who I'm really close with, and he and I used to always joke about getting the band back together. And I always wanted to play bass. I thought about it because he was a guitar player. And I moved to New York City and I had a broken foot, and John and I were roommates. And John was like, yo, Mags, this is a perfect time to learn an instrument because you're home with a broken foot. Let's go to Guitar Center and buy a bass. So I was like, great idea. So we met at Guitar Center. Yeah, in New York on 14th Street. And we hobbled in. And he was like, I've just picked out like a sparkly blue knockoff to like a Music Man because I liked the color and it was fun, and a little amp and like a book to the blues. And then he and I lived, we were roommates, and so we would just like jam and like work on like little blues progressions from this book that I bought. One night he went out to an art opening, made friends with like a guy he's like great. Ended up being a great friend. And the guy was like, hey, I'm a singer-songwriter. And my brother was like, I'm a guitar player. My sister plays the bass. So we were like, let's make a band. And then it was me, the lead singer, my brother, and then my cousin Michael was on saxophone and keyboards for a little bit, and we had like a revolving door of drummers, and we played in this band called Killing Phantoms for a long time. The lead singer was he was in his residency as a doctor, so like he, it dissolved, but he continued to play on, and he still plays. But like playing in a band was just like I wanted to do it. It was like playing an instrument was like, secondary, but being in the band was like primary. That was cool.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Tiffany?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had to just take it back in my head for a little while because I was just like, where did it start? And honestly, I mean, I know this is kind of sacrilegious in some circles, but I mean, it started with me being a karaoke addict, which I can still say that I am to this day. I can't go past a karaoke bar without being like, maybe for a quick minute. But it just kind of started there. And then it was getting asked to kind of hop in on songs and like bands asking, hey, do you know this one? You know, House of the Rising Sun? And it was like, that was kind of like my staple, just get brought up on stage. And then I had a conversation with a local musician in my hometown in Rockaway Beach. His name's Mikey B. And I was like, how did you know that this is what you wanted to do? And he was like, honestly, I don't think I ever knew I wanted to be a musician, but I found like my band. And then with them, we kind of figured out what music meant to us and how we were going to perform and what was my role in that. And he went from being lead guitarist to lead singer. And he's like, you just got to find your band. You got to find your tribe. And I wasn't looking for it. But then when Sal introduced me to these ladies, I was like, oh, this is some cosmic stuff right here. And I was like, okay. I was like, this is my band. I've never had like a band that has been like, I am a part of it. And so this is my first one, and we're going to be here for a long time. But I love it. I absolutely.
Do you remember the first time you actually performed? And this is for all three ladies. Like the first time, this is it. I'm getting up here and I'm performing, not just like at somebody's barbecue in the backyard where you picked up a guitar or something, but you were on stage and you're on. Hello.
This is the second call. Don't they know what I'm doing?
Yeah. Do you remember that, Tiffany? Were there nerves?
Yeah. Honestly, I think mine was the Irish Festival in Rockaway Beach where I met Salmeda. Like the first time I was on like a real stage and not a Rockaway backyard.
Right.
Yeah.
Margaret, were the fingers a little tight the first time you had to kick it off?
No, because I was drunk. So, come on.
Yeah, that's a great title to your autobiography. No, because I was drunk.
Yeah. We are like, now it's a sober stage, but like back then it was, we'd all play. My brother and I would get in a fight at some point. Like someone was getting a fist fight in the audience. It was just like mayhem. And then it would be like, it's like, why are we drunk at the show? We don't drink in rehearsal. It's like
sounded good to us.
Not now. Now it's like, oh my goodness. Like if I even breathe alcohol, I'll I'll be playing like the 5th string of a 4-string bass. Like it's like, what am I doing?
So you're saying if you had a tape recording of that first night and you put it in right now, you'd go, what the hell was that?
Yeah, more like the first 5 years. Like, okay, maybe I need to dry up a little bit.
KG, remember your moment?
Oh yeah, yeah. It was a doozy. I started, I joined this band from an ad in The Voice, and we were busy rehearsing away, trying to get through Ramones covers and what have you. And I got married, and we had our reception at this club in the East Village called Continental Divide. That doesn't exist anymore. So the first time I got on stage was at my reception party. We had this great band called The Senders that played. And then later my singer was drunk, and she comes up to me because she goes, let's play. And I was like, oh God, in front of everyone I know. Like I've never played in front of anybody before. And then I noticed that the drummer had left already because this was towards the end of the night. And I was like, well, drummer isn't here. We can't do it. And she goes, if I find a drummer, will you do it? And I was like, yeah, sure. Because I was like, that's not going to happen. And then she says, I got us a drummer. We're going to get up and play a few songs. And so the first time I got up on stage was with Jerry Nolan on drums because somebody had brought him. And we got up. He's the drummer for the New York Dolls. Right. For anybody who doesn't know. And so I got up there with my guitar first time on stage, and I looked behind me at Jerry Nolan, and we're going to do one of our originals, which he had never heard before. And it was really sort of fast. And I turned around and I go, this song is really fast. Okay. And he had a cigarette and he's like, I invented fast. We proceeded to play really slow, but it was very memorable. Yes.
An opposite that thing you do moment.
Yeah, that thing you do. It's too fast.
This was too slow.
I know. I kept going like, could you pick it up? Could you pick it up?
So I have to ask this, and it's not it may not bring back the most pleasant memories, but still, it's something that it's certainly relevant to any woman who comes up in this rock and roll world. Did you ever face any derision from male musicians? Being female rockers, like you shouldn't be doing this, you're not good enough. The usual male insecurity stuff.
I thought this show was only in an hour.
Yeah.
Well,
I knew the answer was yes, but I had to be polite.
Yeah.
This is where we just edit it, and then and everybody's doing this.
Part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just in general, what did you face?
For me as a singer, I think it's definitely a little bit different with not playing an instrument. But I had, oh, can you come and perform with us? Can you do these songs with us? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm practicing. And then I go up and it's just comments about, oh, isn't she looking nice? Yeah, she doesn't even have to sing. She could just stand up here and we'll make the gate. And it's just like kind of just comments about, the reason I was there was not because of my ability. The reason I was there was because I was an audience draw, or I was just kind of eye candy for people to come, visit with. And it just kind of, broke it down a little bit for me, because I was like, that's not really who I am. That's not how I necessarily see myself, as kind of an object. And I don't want to be objectified to do something that I love. So it was just a lot of that. And then also, recognizing, as Mag said, that we're a dry stage. I've definitely been in some male fronted bands, and I've, done backup, and it's just honestly, it's not as fun as just some two powerhouse females, and we're just hanging out talking about life, and we can have real conversations and make amazing music. We're not drunk, and it's just, we can focus on why we're there. What's the purpose of this? And I enjoy that. Definitely.
Yeah.
Who wants to run next?
Margaret's very introspective right now. She's
we'll ask KG then.
No, I just wanted to follow up real quick, Tiffany, that that there's a lot of people that do, and male and female, that do not like a female vocalist in front of a band no matter what's going on, and they'll have those prejudices right off the bat. So I think there's a little uphill struggle sometimes, especially if you're playing pop music, rock music, whatever it may be. You don't have a whole lot of Pat Benetars and such in the world, mostly male dominated. So people have to get over the stigma that this is the voice. Everything else, the objectivity doesn't come into play. But
well, like, I think people like what they like, so like there's an element of that. But I think that women are held to, from my experience, held to like a higher standard. So there's like a guy can come in and like pick up a Les Paul, which is like, in my opinion, a very forgiving guitar, and just like put in a bunch of effects, bunch of vibrato, a bunch of like overdrive, and be like, look at this awesome killer shreddy guitar. And then it's like, wow, that's so great. But the women have to have like, the tone has to be perfect. The note selection has to be perfect. It has to be interesting. It's getting judged on so many other things than just like the guy with like the attitude and the guitar and the Marshall, stack, and just like being like, look, I'm the cool rock guy. And the same thing with the bass. It's like, how's her hand positioning, her note selection, like, are her knuckles collapsed? It's just like, is she playing up and down the neck? What was that solo like? There's so much more to be critiqued. And then on top of it, like, there's that fine line about like being like presenting yourself on how you see yourself, but you still want to be feminine. You still want to, it's still a show. You still want to put on, you don't really necessarily want to wear a burlap sack. Like David Bowie was theatrical. Like, this is music. There's an element of theatrics. So it's like, are the theatrics, is your outfit like taking away, distracting from what you're doing? Are you getting judged for the right thing, the wrong thing? So I don't know. I think everyone has opinions. You get off the stage, somebody says, what would be really good if you did this, this, and this. You know what? Like, I don't really care what you think would be really good. Like, how about you just say like, good job, great to see you, like, awesome, whatever. Like, I don't care if you think I should play like this bass or that bass. Like, irrelevant.
Yeah.
Irrelevant.
There's a fine line between the fact that it's show business and you're doing what you're doing, and but everybody has to find their own thing.
Yeah.
It's very cool. That's very
I hope I tend to use adjectives to describe your beauty, and I'm just trying to be playful. Certainly I can't. And I'm sure I speak for a lot of men when, we say it's certainly a value added, but it never, in choosing bands for IPO, for example, what women look like have never been a factor. I mean, often I hear music not knowing, the physical appearance of who's doing it. So, first and foremost, you're all very, very talented musicians, songwriters, singers. That's why you've played IPO. That's why anybody plays IPO, male, female, or what. So just so you know, I hope you don't mind when I do use those words, because I'm not trying to diminish you in any way.
Oh, David, you're harmless. Don't worry.
I don't know if I want to hear that I'm harmless.
He says that as his wife has a knife in his back right now. Oh, hi, Rena.
Nice. I just want to come in and say hi.
Hi, Rena.
Oh, honey, I didn't even know you were here.
Yeah, I snuck up behind
Woo!
you.
So why Sly Boots? Where does Sly Boots come from?
Well, it came from a word a day, actually, that was on my phone because we had been discussing band names at one point, and that's really hard. Bands break up before they even form if they can't find a name that everyone can agree on. I've seen that happen. So, yeah, we kept going through lists of things, and a bunch of people. Some people liked this name, other people hated it, blah blah blah. So this one came up, and seemed to fit, and nobody said no. So it worked out.
It's one word. It's not two words.
It's one word.
I was going to be a follow-up question. It is one word. It's Sly Boots.
Yeah, it's a fairly archaic word. It's old, but And
what is the meaning of one word, Sly Boots? Do we have a meaning? What's that? Do we have a meaning for one word, Sly Boots? Is that?
It's sort of one who is engaging in a sort of mischievous kind of way, kind of a
but endearing too.
Endearing,
It describes your stage persona, so it's perfect.
Yeah, so we tried for.
Well, very good. I see, you learned something. I thought it was two words. So
There actually was a 2-word Sly Boots from the 70s. I think I showed KG a picture of the album.
Yeah, and I think there's another Sly Boots out there, but you know that it's not us because they have all these like heavy metal boots on all their stuff. So if you see that, that's not us.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What's the near future hold for Sly Boots? Are you looking at playing out more as the pandemic kind of allows such things?
Yeah, we're hoping to get together and to play, work on some more new material. We have a couple of songs that we're going to release, hopefully, over the summer. So, and then always hoping to record some more.
You guys are physically located near each other in some of the boroughs of New York?
Yeah.
All right, you're not too long distance. Okay.
Yeah, we know how to make it work. Our rehearsal space is, close to Port Authority. So.
Oh, okay. All right, good.
Do you guys often get young girls, young women come up to you and say, you're really been an inspiration for us. We're thinking of starting a band.
I don't know that young women start bands anymore, but
nobody starts a band anymore.
Yeah.
I get more of like I would love if we had more young women come to our shows, but it's usually the people that like our music are like, my daughter might want to start a band.
Yeah, right.
Or like, can you give my 12-year-old bass lessons? I would love if we had like more like,
just like
younger people coming out to see our shows.
Are you going to have to play the high school auditoriums and the all-age shows at the soda-only venues? I guess. Do those even exist anymore? I remember being in middle school and having these touring bands and things come through, and we'd have the auditorium filled, and they'd say, this afternoon we've got Morning Sun or whatever. And when you were in 8th grade, you sat there going, oh my God, this is awesome. This is a real band, and even though they were just a cover band doing all kinds of songs at the time.
I honestly think that if you
Gary Como and Andy Williams and those kind of.
If you played in front of younger people, I honestly think they would dig you. I've heard from other bands who have done that, even though young people aren't necessarily into rock and roll these days. If you feed it to them and you're good at it, I really think they would like you a lot. So you ought to, as Mark said, you ought to think about playing in front of in those kind of venues. I really think they'd like you.
Or the outdoor all ages things,
right?
That those kind of people come to.
Yeah.
Do you do a whole lot on social media, or are you planning on it? I mean, I've seen the Bandcamp, I've seen some of the YouTube things, but I don't know. I don't know if you're big on the Instagram or the whatever it is flavor of the week uh, type.
We're not
of
on TikTok, but yeah, we are on Instagram.
No,
What's TikTok?
You don't want to know, David.
You've got your watch on, David.
I've seen it, but I don't know. When I was younger, I said, you know what, I'm never going to become one of those old people that loses touch with kids, and I'll always be able to relate to them. Yeah, right. I have no idea.
That's great. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to some new things coming from Sly Boots. I'm going to say it quickly as one word. Have
you thought about now that the pandemic, things are hopefully winding down, have you thought about touring, maybe going to other countries?
We've thought about it, yeah. If we get that opportunity, yeah, absolutely, we'd love it. But as you know, the world is a little unstable right now, so
yeah. You always have an open invitation to IPO Liverpool.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
We're finally getting it going again in May, and I have some. I know. Things are definitely easing up. As of a month ago, you still had to get into the country. You had to have a negative COVID test, and once you got there, you had to take one, and it had to be negative, or you had to quarantine.
And you had to prepay before they let you out of before you could book your airfare. They made you prepay for a COVID test to get into the country at a ridiculous price, like 70 some odd pounds per test. Crazy. Wow. Now they're hopefully making that go away.
No, it is a way. I looked online, and that stuff's all gone now. We won't have to test when we get there.
Wow. I also think by the end of the summer we'll have 5 songs released, and that's like a real solid body of work. So it's been kind of, it's hard to book things with just only 3 songs released, but with 5 songs released, it's a lot more. And then, we'll have more songs. It will have been in the studio, by the time those other 2 are released. So we'll have like more songs coming down the pipe. So we're just really focusing on a body of work. And then, but to answer your question, yes, we do want to do it all.
Yeah. Well, I think also pandemic-wise, so many venues that you could possibly play have closed, sadly.
Very sadly.
As I've told a lot of people who lament their favorite restaurants closing down or whatnot, I said, there's going to be new places opening up. I feel bad for those that lost what they had during the pandemic, but the hope is, and you're already seeing it, you're seeing new places pop up where the old places were, and hopefully venues, live music venues will be kind of following up in that same kind of thing when people can get out. And as you said, Margaret, work on 5 originals, and once you get a few more, then all of a sudden you've got a set where you could be in a 3 or 4 band venue and play a 40-minute, 45-minute set of all your own stuff, which is something that is going to be necessary to do. But of course, if you get down in Philadelphia area, I'm only right down the turnpike, not even that far. Let me know.
Not only new venues.
I've got David's credit card. We'll go out to eat. It's good.
It's maxed. Sorry.
No, but we're really looking forward
not only new venues, but places that weren't venues are becoming that. Like there's this club in LA called Flying Embers that's been a brewery for many years, and now they've decided to add a music space. And in fact, they have a sister venue in Boston that we used for IPO last year. And it's still in its infancy with respect to being a venue. They had to rent a bunch of equipment and everything, but it went great. So we're really looking forward to it's cool because when you're at the LA one, you're playing, you can see the big vats of beer in the other room. So it's a really cool vibe. So we're very much looking forward to that. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that's happening, as a result of the pandemic. So yeah, there aren't, I won't get into this, but there are some minor silver linings to the really awful situation.
Yeah, and like I was saying, I think that this summer is going to really open things up. I know everybody's really eager to get out there and see more shows. I know that we're planning to go out and see some more music and be able to do more things outdoors and explore more. So yeah, everybody's really looking forward to getting out there and getting things going a lot more. And hopefully, come the fall, things are still good and we can get back on track.
Yeah, hopefully the world figures itself out. And
I want to thank you again for coming out and playing IPO in New York last November.
Absolutely. Oh, that was so fun.
That was so fun.
Arlene's unfortunately created a very safe environment for everybody.
Yeah.
And that meant a lot.
Yeah, indeed.
It was magical. It was like this brief pocket in time where suddenly everything felt like everything was okay again for one shiny moment.
It really did. It really, really did.
And the only difference is, to walk into any indoor space, okay, here's my Vax card, I'm good.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining us here in Material Issues. This has been a blast. It really has. I as I said, I talked to David earlier, last few days. I'm like, I don't really know Sly Boots that well. I know some of the songs, but it's been a pleasure getting to know all three of you. I can see why it works. You get along great. And the music evolves out of that collaboration and partnership. And best wishes to you with more new music and down the road. And I look forward to seeing you live in near future because we're not that far away. I'm just a little bit further south here. It's all great. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you,
And
Mark.
I'll take a little bit off the credit card so you can have a little bit of fun, Mark.
Why? Thank you so much. I'm spending it all on dog food and chewies right now.
I feel that.
But yeah, we're very much, Rena and I are very much looking forward to seeing you all again, to playing again, to all the new music. Yeah, thank you all very much for coming on.
Absolutely.
Thank you too. It's good to see you.
Ladies, have a great night. David and I are going to do our sign-offs, but be happy, be healthy, be safe, and we will see you soon. Sly Boots. Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night.
All right. Well, that was fun.
David, that was fantastic. That was wonderful. Good call on a very talented band. Yeah.
No, they are. And, you've got to see them live for it to fully be done justice. So
that's on my bucket
list. We'll start playing this, by the fall, as KG mentioned.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll be out and about and you'll be able to see them, and hopefully we'll have them back at IPO New York in November, and then in Liverpool someday. Yeah, next year.
That would be awesome. Yeah, they do well in Liverpool. Yes, indeed. So speaking of the future, what do we got going on the next? We got the next month and a half, 2 months almost completely booked on this Material Issues.
I don't have the page. I don't have the right page here. So,
well, I'm going to tell you.
Thing I didn't do, but I think I remember some of it.
Next week is,
I believe,
drummer.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Next week we've got drummer extraordinaire. He played on Paul and Linda McCartney's Ram, then became a full-fledged member of Wings and played on Wildlife. He's still going strong. He's done a lot of session work recently. We know he's going to have some great stories. Denny Sywell, drummer extraordinaire on Material Issues, next Wednesday, March 30th. And then the following 2 weeks, we're going to have some baseball players. Well, former baseball players. Both Mark and I are huge baseball fans, so we're really looking forward to that. On April 6th, we have Cy Young Award winner, pitcher extraordinaire, who definitely got himself into a few minor controversies, but he's still, he's a lot of fun and a great speaker. We're very glad to have Blackjack McDowell
Nice.
On Material Issues on April 6th. And then the following week, we have an outfielder who played for the Yankees and Texas Rangers, and he was a Yankees announcer for many years. He's a very interesting guy, and we're looking forward to having Billy Sample
Nice.
on April 13th. So we're going to get both the pitching and the hitting, fielding perspective. and we'll be asking them a lot about, what they think about today's game.
Yeah. That could be an interesting little circle we got going on. Yeah.
The steroids era. I mean, McDowell did pitch a little bit in that. Sample was done before that happened. But yeah, we'll get their views on those things. Yeah. On April 20th, we have musician, really fine singer-songwriter, and of course the daughter of one of pop music's greatest icons, Carole King, and Jerry Goffin, her husband, with whom she wrote so many great tunes in the 60s. And of course Carole King with Tapestry and all her other albums. But her daughter has released several fine records in her own right, including one only a year ago. And she's a very engaging lady. We'll be having Louise Goffin on April 20th on Material Issues. And then we'll let Mark talk about who we have on April 27th.
April 27th, early to mid 70s power pop band out of Virginia that really was like regionally pretty huge throughout Virginia, DC, into Pennsylvania, Cleveland, the Agora Ballroom. They would sell out all the time. 4 fantastic albums. I'm a huge fan. But 2 of the original members of Artful Dodger, bass player Steve Cooper and lead singer Billy Pauselli, are both going to join us on April 27th to talk about really great, not only power pop tracks, but they had some great anthem kind of tracks, ballads, power ballads. Just a big fan. So I'm looking forward to Artful Dodger on the 27th.
Yeah, me too.
It'll be great.
They're a band who I have to admit, back in the day, I kind of discounted because I thought they were, totally hard rock. I didn't their album covers kind of give that impression. So, and back in the day, and I'm sure you did this too, sometimes you would buy an album just based upon the way the cover looked, the song titles, the way the band members looked, what kind of instruments they played. And Artful Dodger kind of screamed hard rock to me. And while I didn't mind hard rock, I wasn't a huge fan of it. So I never bought any of their records back then. It was only through the power pop community that I learned that, hey, some of their stuff is just pure power pop. And now I own several of their records.
I think they were kind of lumped in there because of the songs that were released as singles, many of them were very anthem, arena rock sounding, big, but when you get into all the deeper cuts, all of a sudden, these guys had a great pop sensibility and could write great pop songs. It just, those weren't the songs that were, projecting them into a bigger crowd. So that's kind of why.
But we'll be glad to have them. And as usual, irons in the fire. I would imagine that by next week we'll be able to announce at least one, if not more, May guests on Material Issues. So we're onward and upward, as they say. Episode 45.
Episode 45
RPM. 45 RPM episode.
Well, make sure that you join the group here on Facebook. Tell your friends to join the group. All we do is notify you who's coming up next week. We don't send a lot of spam. You go over to YouTube at materialissues.com and hit subscribe and join there, and all the archives. This is episode 44 we're finishing up. So there's 44 episodes. If you're taking a long plane ride after you've shown the Vax card, like Lena said, you can now binge Material Issues on Facebook and on YouTube. My friend, it's been great. Another great episode.
Absolutely. Always enjoyable. I always look forward to it.
Outstanding.
I look forward to it when I happen to be not at work.
And
unfortunately, Rena's had back issues the last couple of weeks.
Hope you're feeling better.
she's going to be doing some physical rehab starting next week, and hopefully that all goes well.
Yeah.
And she's able to work from home, but she has a little bit of a break in between phone calls right now, so she came in to join us, which is nice.
Nice.
Thank you, honey.
All right.
You're welcome.
All right, my friends. Everybody stay happy, stay healthy, stay great.
Hold on, Mark.
So question, since it's puppy day, the whole time we've been talking, have you had any interested parties saying they want to adopt the latest foster pup?
Yeah, there's applications coming in as we speak.
Awesome.
She couldn't be officially put up for adoption until we got the word today, because she went to the veterinarian yesterday. Clean bill of health as far as eyes, ears, teeth, body, heart, listening, but the blood work had to come back today, and she's heartworm negative. Anything that could be wrong blood work wise is nothing wrong. So she's as healthy as can be. So she just officially hit the website One Love Rescue out of Belmar, New Jersey, and we've already got people interested. Yes, which is wonderful.
That's great that we're kind of public service puppy day thing.
Puppy day, biscuit day. Thank you, Rita, for asking. Yeah, she is a sweetheart.
Yes, we can tell.
Yeah, I love her.
All right. Well, anyway, go back to joining Biscuit and Chaz, and
time for a long walk. Yeah.
We will see you again next week. Everyone, thank you so much for listening, as always.
All right. Good night, everybody.